So when we talk about NBA players that could play in the NFL, there are a plethora of names. You got LeBron James, obviously, who's mentioned first in this conversation, as he was given multiple D1 offers coming out of high school, but everybody knew he picked basketball as his first sport. You have Russell Westbrook, who's viewed as one of the most athletic players in NBA history. He could have been a defensive back if he really put his mind to it, and there are other guys and names I could mention, but we all know that's not the topic of this video. We're going to address the other side of the coin. People that could have played in the NBA that chose to play other sports. But before we get started with this video, let me introduce myself. It's your boy David from NBA Knowledge. It's been a long hiatus, but I have finally returned. Make sure y'all drop a like on this video so you can help us out in the algorithm, as well as hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy this content that much, push that bell for post notifications. But without further ado, let's discuss our first player, and that is Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was known as one of the best tight ends in the NFL for a good stretch in time. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler and a multiple-time All-Pro recipient. He also has 2 1,000-yard receiving years under his belt during his time in New Orleans, and that's very impressive for a tight end in the league, as you don't really see 1,000-yard receiving years from tight ends on a year-to-year basis outside of a couple of exceptions. Jimmy Graham was that exception. At a point in time, people thought he was the best tight end in the league, or at least comparable to that of Rob Gronkowski, who many people think is the greatest tight end in the history of the NFL. So yeah, Jimmy Graham's spot was a highly coveted one indeed. But for those who do not know, Jimmy Graham actually used to play basketball in college for the Miami Hurricanes. And to be fair, when you look at his numbers, they're not all that impressive, but he wasn't getting that many minutes because basketball was not his main focus. It was football. And obviously that was the right choice, as he went on to have a very successful career. But it does beg the question, what if he actually put some effort towards playing basketball instead of football? Instead of famously dunking on the goalpost in the end zone, he would have been dunking on bodies, as he is 6'7" and has a pretty hefty weight. So just imagine him as a small forward, or maybe even a stretch 4. Who knows what Jimmy Graham could have been had he decided to go with basketball instead of football. But I'll just leave that to you guys. Moving on to our next player, we have the one and only Usain Bolt. Now to me, I think a lot of people are gonna brush this aside, but you have to be open-minded when you're discussing topics like this. Obviously, it's not a safe bet that all of these guys would have gone to the NBA, but you have to open up your imagination and just think of the possibilities. And when it comes to Usain Bolt, the possibilities are endless. When you're the fastest man who's ever lived, you could damn near be in every single sport if you actually just apply yourself. And when you combine that with the fact that he stands at 6'5" and weighs over 200 pounds, I could easily see him being a pesky defender who could make a couple of all defensive team selections. And for people that doubt his ability to be a multi-sport athlete, despite the fact that he's the fastest man in the history of the world, let's not forget that he did step onto the soccer pitch and played a little bit of soccer for a point in time. And sure, he wasn't the greatest at it, I'll admit, it's still something that he can put on his resume, that he's a multi-sport athlete. And to be honest with you, when you have the drive that Usain Bolt has, considering how amazing he already is in his field, just apply that drive and determination towards being a basketball player, and I could easily see him making a run towards becoming an NBA player. But that's all a what if. This is a guy that's dominated every single facet of track and field, and he's become one of the greatest athletes in the history of the world. You could even make the argument that he is the greatest athlete of all time. But like I said, we'll just never know, and only the basketball gods will. But moving on to our next and final person, we have the one and only primetime himself, Deion Sanders. I saved the best for last. For those who do not know, Deion Sanders is arguably the greatest athlete in the history of American sports. This is a guy that could play every single position in football other than quarterback, and that is no stretch of any imagination at all. He was a corner, he could play safety, he made a first-team All-Pro as a kick returner, he also made another first-team All-Pro as a punt returner, he's got 8 Pro Bowls under his belt, he also has 2 Super Bowl rings, and he also played baseball. Yes, Deion Sanders is a multi-sport athlete, as he eventually made it to the World Series and pitched a .263 batting average, recorded 39 home runs, and stole 186 bases. So with him actually being a decent baseball player, at least for a person that really didn't grow up on that sport, primarily I should say, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Deion Sanders could have played the game of basketball. Similar to Usain Bolt and also Jimmy Graham, he definitely has the size, standing at 6'1" and weighing around 200 pounds. I could see him being a Patrick Beverley type, or if you want to be more offensively skilled, maybe even a CP3 type of player. And that's just wishful thinking. I'm not saying that Deion Sanders would have been some Hall of Fame caliber player in the NBA, but the type of player that he would definitely like to be a rugged and grimy type of player. So if you want to be more wishful but kind of be a little conservative, maybe a Kyle Lowry type of guy. And that's a really solid player in the NBA. Kyle Lowry's no slouch. He'll probably make the Hall of Fame one day. So if you put Deion Sanders in the NBA, or you just put him on a basketball team and actually have him work to get his spot in the league, I definitely think he could be a role player at the backup point guard position that could be a rugged defender, and you know he's going to make some all defensive teams. So a Patrick Beverley comparison, Kyle Lowry, Chris Paul type small miniature guard that can get up under you and challenge you on the defensive side of the ball. I definitely think that primetime Deion Sanders, who's arguably the greatest athlete in the history of team sports, could accomplish more than anything. But that concludes this video. Let me know your opinions down below in the comment section. Which athletes do you guys think I left off the list that I should have put on the list? If you think I put somebody on the list that shouldn't be here, let me know down below. This is your boy David from NBA Knowledge signing out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like as it helps out with the algorithm. Y'all stay safe and have a great day. I'm out. Peace.